Right. So we more or less at least have a theory of how things went down. The ancient history part doesn't really matter. It's more or less just an explanation of how these unnatural creatures got started. But the theory at the moment is Drakkar the vampire killed wife and daughter. So as a response, he orchestrated attack on the vampire that weakened them, and as a result they've been attacking the city. But it doesn't really feel like a plan. Like, this isn't... Okay, let's say Roald Raisin is responsible. This is the plan A, is it? You weaken the vampires and then what? I mean, no one in the city was really ready to do anything about these attacks, even when they started. So I just don't see it. The events that have happened basically cannot be the plan. Something has gone either the story we've been told by the car is somewhat misleading and bullshit. Alternatively, the plan has not been going according to the plan, because this thing makes no fucking sense. The motivation behind some kind of effort toward the vampires, possibly Drakkar himself, is very believable. Probably it's exactly what's been going on, but everything after that doesn't make that much sense. Also, not all that compatible with Lord Raisin's personality. I mean, he's not a bad guy, so... Did he intend that Lord the Reverend Townsend would be murdered? If he was responsible for everything and he didn't intend it, why wouldn't he just stop? I mean, there's missing pieces still. Drakkar claims that Raisin hired a cadre of mages to perform a ritual using werewolf bellies and zombie heads to drive vampires into a blood frenzy to avenge his family's death. But how does that avenge anything? If anything, it just makes things worse. Innocent people are gonna die, and you're not gonna get your revenge anyway, so it just isn't a plan. However, we do have to tell about this to the others. It's a possibility that we can't by any means just ignore. Hello, Mr. Berserker. Ooh. This is not a targetable best spell. Yeah, range personal, but target, so it strikes away from me, I suppose, as I am the center. Colossal radius, so it is massive. And he did nothing. Guess this is one of those situations where I honestly think it's a good idea to talk to the guild leader first. He would have a better understanding of how things are going in the city, so a better understanding of how this might be best handled. I certainly don't want to go to Lord Rayson directly and put the accusations to him. For me, yeah, the accusations might have to be made, but I think it would be better to tell others first, so basically to see if it makes sense and maybe make actions to get some kind of evidence or proof. Basically investigate it before we give a warning to Lord Rayson himself. After the accusation is there's no way taking it back. Although it's quite convenient and easy there. Going to the guild leader is going to be just time consuming. And there's no guarantee, and we'll have to come back here anyway after that.
Greetings.
And talk to him about it. Gloves of the Ogre, strength +4. Ashiara's dagger. +3 on hit poison and poison, constitution and strength damage. -2 constitution, regeneration 4. Reduced hit point buffer, increased regeneration. Demolisher. Extra bludgeoning damage. Avenging Angel. No one can use this shit. Flame weapon. Break. Vampire Fang. Vampiric regeneration sword. Natural armor +4. I think someone is using a +3. White Swan tunic +5. Dexterity 3, armor 5. This might be a better armor for Percy. Marauder. Keen and enchantment box. Charisma and armor. It looks nice on her anyway. Right. Natural armor +2. Switch that to +4. So her armor class is by far the greatest. Right. Let's go report our findings. A quick save here. Well, I'm probably not gonna load it though. I was thinking just in case nothing really interesting happens on the Thieves Guild headquarters, I can just load instead of having to walk back here, but that's unlikely. There has to be an option to talk about it. So our first proper suspect for the entire thing. Inability to talk about it and mention it would be a pretty goddamn big hole in how the natural flow of things should go.
Not a chance.
Right.
I greet you.
You'll disclose, mate. I need to talk to Admiral. Boss ain't in. He's gone preparing for something big. You need to report something, he says to report to the captain of the city guard barracks. Benny looks around for a moment before speaking. Look, you probably need a place to hang your feet. I wasn't supposed to let anyone in, but I'll make an exception. Here's the key. I'm gonna go be gone in the morning, so make sure nobody sneaks in and steals something, alright? It'd be bloody embarrassing for a thieves guild to be victims of a theft, you know. Well, actually, that's exactly what happened. Still, we got the thieves guild key out of it. That could be somewhat useful. I think it's just to give you a safe place to rest. Captain of the guard. I doubt they're not gonna take the vampire's word for this. That is obvious. Reporting this will get us to level 12, and that's probably well, there's a possibility of getting to 13, but 12 is more likely. Which means some kind of a final encounter is coming.
Well met.
Okay. I discovered a vampire lord in Castle Mordred. Thorin's jaw drops. You tell me everything. Was this creature behind the vampire attacks? Did you destroy it? How did you even find Castle Mordred? Start from the beginning. Tell him about the events leading up to your meeting with Drakkar. Unbelievable. So Castle Mordred was there all along. Now what about this Drakkar? Well, I destroyed him, although he didn't admit to sending vampires to attack the city. You continue to surprise me with your accomplishments, Roland. You are quickly becoming one of the most powerful people in Claymore. But as for Drakkar, he rubs his chin thoughtfully. Can we trust the word of a vampire lord? These are deceitful creatures, and if he isn't responsible, then who is? Tell him about Lord Raisin and the ritual. That's preposterous. Lord Raisin? How could this creature dare to sully the good name of... Thorin calms down for a moment of clarity. I suppose we could always ask him, and we need to report this to him regardless. Let us go to the Elder Council right now, Roland. Captain Thorin, Roland, how good to see you in the hall. I trust your investigations have gone well. Thanks to Roland, we are very close to identifying a source behind the rising evil. But where is Lord Raisin? He needs to hear this report. I don't actually know where he is. Lord Grayson hasn't been in the hall for quite a while now, but now that you've mentioned a breakthrough, you have to tell us. Thorin proceeds to explain everything you discovered at Castle Mordred to the others. The lords are obviously pleased with your work. Well done, Roland. You surprise us time and again. This Drakkar creature is insidious, trying to put the blame on Lord Grayson. Perhaps the Vampire Lord was trying to deceive us. Yet the idea of a ritual causing vampires to attack the city merits investigation. There must be a reason for their attacks, and this may be our best lead. You're right, my lady, but where would we begin to look? Just then a thief slips out of the shadows. Kyra. Maybe I can help with that. Kyra, what are you doing here? Amaryl sent me to find you, Lord Tamerlane. She turns to you. How's it going, Roland? I hear you become quite the hero. I'm doing well, Kyra. It's good to see you again. I hate to break up this union, but what's going on here? Of course, let's get to work. Amaryl has been researching the activities of the Shadow Weavers in the deep slums for a few weeks now. It's been hard because they've been trying to throw us off track at every turn. But we think we finally found something. There's a door, a secret door in the deep slums. It's hidden well, but now that we know where it is, we can dispel its magic. We think this is where the Shadow Weaver's lair is. If there are powerful mages conducting a ritual in Edinburg, and capable of hiding their location for so long, they may very well be Master Shadow Weavers. Master Shadow Weavers, right under our very noses. Damn it. It's worse than that, Captain. The thugs calling themselves Shadow Weavers. We figured all along they were just a ruse to lull us into complacency. But in the last few days a large number of real Weavers assassins have appeared. That's why you're here. Amaryl and his group can't handle this alone. You need our help. Wait a minute, what do you know about Amaryl and his group? Lady Annaviel smiles coyly. More than you realize, my lord. Okay, you've lost me, Amaryl. As in Amaryl Sai, leader of a group? What group? Bloody Daggers, Captain. Amaryl is the leader of the Bloody Daggers. He's my boss. There's a moment of silence as Thorin absorbs this information. We need to strike at the Shadow Weavers now, before they get any more of a hold on Edinburg soil. The Bloody Daggers will have to have the aid of the city guard. He turns to you. Roland, we need all the help we can get. Will you join us in the assault? Well, I've come this far, haven't I? It will be worth it in the end. We may be able to get the Temple of Numieden to help us on this. Roland, would you mind contacting Oris? Yes, I'll contact him. Good. Get all the equipment you need for this. When we assault the Shadow Weavers, I'm going to have the gate locked. There will be no escape for them. But that means no escape for us as well. When do we leave? The other lords pause uncomfortably. You should stay behind, my lady. Lady Annabiel is clearly upset. The city is in danger and Amaryl is there too. How can I stay behind in a time like this? No, it's too dangerous, my lady. I will post guards to protect you. Lady Annabiel looks at you, hoping for support. I don't like our options. I think he should come. We need all the help we can get, right? That makes sense. The other is, Thorin's right. You should stay behind for your own safety. That sort of, it paints the issue in a too simplistic light. But still, the first option is much more preferable than the second. Or Takash interjects. No, it's too dangerous for you. And look at it logically. We need a council elder here in case anything happens to the rest of us. Lord Raisin has disappeared and the other lords are out of town. Sighing reluctantly, Lady Annabelle nods. We will assault the Shadow Weavers the next nightfall. Roland, get all the gear you need, and don't forget to contact Oris in the Temple of NWN. I'll see you in front of the deep slum gates. Right. So basically prepare for the final encounter. Suppose we could buy some spells and scroll, potions, scrolls, that sort of thing. But I'm not sure what else could we do. Oh. Any metamagic feats we can take? What do we have? Best ones. Quicken spell could be useful. A quicken spell is cast as a free action, and another action can be attempted within the same round, including the casting of another spell. Only one quicken spell can be cast per round, so you can cast 2 spells per round at least. I suppose silence spell would be the better one. Silence spells are cast without verbal components, so if someone silences us, we can deal with that. But at the same time, we can already cast or put spell mantles on ourselves, so we're not that easily silenced anymore. Still, spell only useful for armor. I suppose more spell penetration or another spell focus. What spells do we use? Conjuration is something we have a few of. The acid arrows are conjuration. Flame arrows are conjuration. But, well, the flame arrow has a resistance throw. I'm not sure what to take. Some kind of spell focus makes sense. Could also try to get the penetration to go up, but I don't think so. It's not a terrible idea, but it's not our way. Necromancy is a good choice. Both anti-life and anti-undead spells. And there usually have to be there's some kind of saving throw to avoid the effect. Conjuration would be more direct damage, but we basically have one spell that would benefit from it, and no guarantee that we'll ever take any others. I just don't want to take the Necromancy, not because it's bad, but because it's instant death instead of damage. And I'd like to play more of a damage approach. Transmutation would have Disintegration, also turn Petrified. Powerful abilities require saving throws, but they're sort of the same. Save versus basically death. Right. I don't know. I suppose Disintegration is a little bit different from the Necromancy, though. It should work on almost anything, and it's a very nice thing to have. It either kills or does minor damage. Conjuration has some interesting things, but I'm not sure if it's that great. God damn it, I didn't want to get stuck on something like this. It's just +2 to your difficulty class, but it's that can sometimes make a significant difference. It's not something to be dismissed out of hand. Well, definitely not illusion. That's more defensive, or offensive spells would not be all that interesting to us. Abjuration, no, could be useful, but that's more of our dispel magic types. If we use spell breaches, you don't have to make a saving throw. Conjuration has potential. Divination, I have no idea what could even potentially be useful, offensive-wise. So, enchantment is something we aren't doing. Necromancer is something we're not doing. So it's basically take transmutation or conjuration. Conjuration has a few attack spells, but it's mostly summoning, summon creatures, summon demons, summon something. Transmutation has some attack spells. I'll take transmutation. I mean, even from a lower level, it probably has the burning hands. Right, transmutation, fire damage. So it has a path there that might be useful. Level 6, Acid Fog. Save versus Fortitude. 46 acid damage. Movement reduced by 50%. Every round creature spent in the cloud suffers 2d6 acid. Conjuration wouldn't be bad either. Chain Lightning. Evocation and something other than fire. 20d6 damage. Half that amount to all secondary targets. Flesh to Stone. It's basically an instant death to anyone who fails the Fortitude save. Greater Missile Storm. Wait a minute. This game doesn't have a disintegration spell. Right, it should be level 6. Huh. Undead to Death is Necromancy. It's Evocation. Missile Storm is Evocation. No spell resistance, no saving throw, so it doesn't make any difference here. Right, so Conjuration seems like a better choice then. I mean, we would be basically just taking an instant death ability. We've been sort of moving away from that intentionally. So, spell focus Conjuration. I'll take Chain Lightning for now. Right. Greater Missile Storm would have been the better spell. By far the better spell. Probably the best attack spell in the game, if you want to do damage. The Missile Swarm in and of itself, so because it does magic damage and is pretty much guaranteed to hit, it's a lot of guaranteed damage. If you get it to be empowered or maximized, a couple of those will take down something like a dragon, assuming you can get the magic to affect them in the first place.
Greetings.
Okay, tell him about the attack on the Shadow Weavers. You and the city have the aid of Numian, and we will not fail to rid Edinburg of this evil presence. Is there anything else you need? Yeah, supplies. Okay, the last chance to buy something, so might as well buy something. Yeah, healing spells. We have quite a few of these, I think. At the same time, I don't particularly want to hold back at all.
Greetings to you.
Not now. Didn't anything else. I want to see the mage scrolls. That's probably it. Some of the spells there could be very useful, and especially spell protections. I mean, I can use the sequencer rope once, but after that, once that's chewed through, there's no magical protections I can use. And we're going against powerful wizards. Yeah, I'd like to have backups. What exactly do we need to do? So assault will happen the next nightfall. You should rest after contacting Oris. So I'm guessing once we rest, it's going to be automatic nightfall. I think I'll wrap up the preparations and leave it at that. We'll leave the assault itself for another time, and we probably can wrap up the game during a single session at that point. I mean, the goal is just to... There's no point going for extra loot or anything. Healing doesn't give us experience, so we want to push things through to a conclusion of some sort.
Well met.
I'll try to talk to my companions too. I mean, this is about as good of a time as any. There's not gonna be another time. I'll take additional summoned creatures too. To see. Mass haste. Right, good enough. Where can I rest? I can use the Thieves Guild to rest. I got the key for it. I'll head there, then talk to our companions and then rest. They might have reactions. I mean, plot has been moved forward for, so new conversation options might have popped up.
Not a chance.
Hello there.
What can we talk about? We have a new conversation option. What is your family doing now? Evelyn arches an eyebrow at you. Why do you ask? Well, just want to know you a little bit better. She fidgets uncomfortably for a moment, trying to decide where to start. After taking a deep breath, she pushes ahead. My parents were murdered, Ron. I'm sorry. Evelyn isn't looking at you, but her face is emotionless, as though she has been practicing for a while. It was a night like any other. It was cool, and the moon and the stars could be seen in a clear sky. My family and I were going to bed. Father won a card game that night. He was in a good mood. Mother had just finished showing me a new dress she had sewn. It was long and light blue and made of silk. She was a wonderful seamstress. When the alarm sounded, it was too late. They were everywhere, assassins, behind the walls, in the courtyard, inside our home. Our guards were loyal. They rushed to my room to help me. They escorted me to my parents. I watched as many of them fell protecting me. My parents were beset by assassins. They just kept coming. We rushed out of our home and fled toward a mountain monastery. We got as far as a bridge when our last guard, our guard captain, was hit by an arrow. He knew me as a baby. The bridge had been burnt down. These people knew exactly what we would do. There was a rain of arrows, and my parents... Benin covers her mouth, her voice trembling. You all right? She nods, intent on finishing. Her eyes are moist, but she is holding back her tears. My parents could have jumped the river, but they knew I couldn't. They protected me. They shielded me from the arrows. Father deflected most of them. Mother's spell wore out. I wanted to fight. I didn't know how, but I wanted to fight. Father told me to run. Mother told me they loved me. Those were their last words. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want their sacrifice to mean nothing. I wanted revenge. As my father fell, he pushed me into the river. The arrows missed me. Who was responsible for this? I have no brothers or sisters. I was meant to inherit the family business. There were people who thought I was unfit because I'm a girl. Who would think that? My uncle. So your uncle was responsible for this? He was there. He ordered the archers to shoot. He wanted me dead too. He knew our defenses, our emergency plans. He was wealthy as well. He had the resources to hire assassins. There were so many, but they weren't normal. They were too powerful, too skilled. Their eyes glowed. I don't think they were from Arterra. Mother never trusted my uncle, but what could the father do? They were brothers. My uncle was sometimes nice to me, and sometimes he would snap at me. But it was normal. It was family. I never saw it coming. I need to stop for a moment, Roland. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm truly sorry for what happened. Thank you, Roland. Thank you for listening to my story. I had to tell someone. But what happened to your uncle? Evelyn closes her eyes for a moment, clearing her thoughts. I stalked him for weeks after my parents were gone. I wanted revenge. But people turned on me. People my parents helped over the years. They knew there was a change of power in my family business. There was a reward for my capture, and some people tried to take it. Some people care for nothing but coin. Now you know why I lost faith in people. I stopped talking to people for so long. Most people only think about what's important to them. Well, so did you. They hunted me. I didn't want to fight them. I tried so hard not to, but they attacked me and I hurt some people. I felt so terrible. I never hurt anyone before. A few people tried to help me once. They were they were overrun by a mob. I'll never forget their faces. I couldn't ask for any help anymore, and I had nowhere to go. So you left Al-Qaeda then? No, I couldn't leave. I needed closure. I continued to stalk my uncle. I knew the area well, and I knew my home better than anyone else. I managed to sneak into my parents' room, his room. He was asleep, so I drew my blade. You kill him? I couldn't do it. I woke him up and I demanded answers. I begged for his He begged for his life. He pleaded with me, told me that his partners forced him to do it. He told me stories about growing up with my father, brotherly stories. I I didn't know what to do. I was so confused. Then I let my guard down and he lunged at me, sword drawn. You noticed tears running down Ebony's cheek. It's alright, just take a deep breath. She wipes her cheeks with the palm of her hand and pauses for a moment to gather herself. I dodged him and tried to run. I couldn't hurt him, he was my uncle. Yeah, I think you were just weak. I truly think that. I mean, if she didn't want to, really knew herself and didn't want to go through with it, she should have never went there in the first place. She clearly wanted to basically get revenge answers, but she couldn't go through with it. Probably a young person doesn't really know herself fully, hasn't had many experiences, so she wouldn't know how she would actually feel or act in such circumstances. So it's nothing bad or unexpected, but I still think she was weak. Mainly because she didn't really know what she was doing, not necessarily because she spared him. He grabbed my hair and threw me against the wall. He raised his sword and came down at me. I dodged and he fell upon my blade. It pierced his throat. Seems like it was an accident then. He would still be alive if I didn't seek revenge. I confronted him armed. I killed my own uncle. Don't grieve for the man who killed your parents. Evelyn considers your words for a long time. My parents died. Innocent people died. My uncle died, all because of me. I could never forgive myself. Well, that's just stupid. Yes, Evelyn is probably more sort of almost more naive than Percy. Because of her self-blame about ridiculous things. She sobs softly as she speaks. The only person who consoled me was Gerald. He's gone too. I've lost everything. You have me. Evelyn looks at you. Her eyes are less mysterious now, yet there is a lot of uncertainty and hesitation in them. Her breathing has relaxed. I want to thank you for listening to everything, Roland. I need to think a while. Think a while. Talk to someone else.
Greetings to you.
Anything new on your front? Not really. Ah, yes, there is. How do you feel about me? Percy seems puzzled by your question. You are a fair master. Yeah, I'm not your master, Percy. I just want to be your friend. A, a friend? You don't know what a friend is? I am familiar with the concept of friendship, but I am a mere slave, and friendship is a relationship between equals. I am not your equal. Well, I consider you an equal. She stares deeply into your eyes for a long while. You feel yourself blushing. But how can a slave be your equal? You're not my slave, you never were. However, well, I might not have think about it like that, but in a real way I suppose she is. The connection we have, sort of a contract, I suppose, that is a real thing. But you are the owner of my bonds. As such, I am your slave and servant. Such are the terms of my existence. Can I release you from this servitude? I do not know. As a slave, I was never privileged to know this. My bonds are a part of me as they have always been. To destroy my bonds is to destroy my existence, my soul. I don't have the bonds you speak of. You do, though they are not physical. My bonds were passed to you by verbal agreement between you and my former masters. So it's some kind of magic then. You may think of it as such, but it is not a magic that can be countered or dispelled. My bonds are a part of me. They are chains upon my very soul. I am sorry, but I cannot explain it otherwise. I release you. Okay, talk about something else then. Aren't you supposed to be evil? I have been called that many times before, but you don't seem very evil to me. Women hate me, knights would attack me on sight, only men desire my presence, and I reward them by ruining their families and seducing them into performing crimes. Is that not evil? Uh, do you still do those things? I would if you commanded me to. Don't you think it's wrong to do those things? I have been taught that seducing people to serve one's goals is evil, and unfair to the victim, but my first master was evil, and to do evil was his way. How do you feel about doing evil? She pauses for a moment before replying. I have never considered how I felt about my actions. I have always done as I was commanded. I would not like to do those things to you, I think. But you are my master, and I would like to please you. How would you like me to behave? I want you to choose. I cannot. I must serve your whims. Choosing yourself won't kill you, Percy. She looks away from you and her voice is very quiet. It was not always so, Roland. I would have been... Her eyes open wide as some horrible memory floods her thoughts. Are you alright? I would like it if women no longer hated me. I would like it if I did not need to hide from knights and paladins. But the consequences... Her voice is trembling. I won't let anyone hurt you, Percy. Thank you, Roland. Her voice is quiet, but you notice that she seems more relaxed around you than you remember. Right. I'm not quite sure. I don't see new conversation topics.
Greetings to you. Hello there.
Now resting a lot. Oh shit. I'll rest and check if we have new conversation topics. If not, then forget about it. Body Dagger Elite. Easy.
Greetings to you.
I don't see anything new. Well, I could select any new here. Not really.
Hello there.
Right, I'm not seeing
What
anything
do you-
new. I guess we're about as ready as we're going to get. Level 12, 10,000 experience points away from the next level, so there's really no hope of reaching that. That's fine, we are doing fairly well, have a significant amount of abilities, spells, we'll be fine. Zombie warriors.
Out of our way!
I don't want her wasting her spells on this.
I will see you dead!
Both walk away from this.
By my direction, attack!
Right, so the gang's all here.